The sun hasn't risen yet. Your house is quiet. And in this exact moment, right now, before the first light touches the horizon, your consciousness exists in a state that won't happen again for another 24 hours. Most people sleep through it. But the ones who understand what's really happening during these pre-dawn minutes, they're the ones watching miracles unfold in their lives with a consistency that seems impossible to everyone else. Here's what nobody tells you about speaking things into existence. It's not about the words themselves, it's about when you speak them and from what state of consciousness you're operating when those words leave your mouth. Because every single word you've ever spoken carries an electromagnetic signature. That's not metaphor, that's measurable physics. And that signature either organizes the quantum field around you into coherent patterns or scatters it into chaos. The reason your affirmations haven't been working, the reason you've spoken your desires 1,000 times and watched nothing change, you've been speaking from the wrong frequency at the wrong time. And the field, it responds to frequency first, words second. Let me show you something that's happening in your body right now if you're reading this before sunrise. Between approximately 4:30 and 6 o'clock a.m., your pineal gland is producing a very specific neurochemical cocktail. It's a blend of DMT, yes, the same molecule that creates mystical experiences, and melatonin, which is still present from your sleep cycle. This combination doesn't happen at any other time of day, and what it creates is a bridge, a direct pathway between your waking consciousness and what physicists call the unified field, the substrate of reality where all possibilities exist simultaneously. Ancient mystics knew this. They didn't have the scientific language for it, but they knew that the hour before sunrise was sacred. That's why every major spiritual tradition on earth has pre-dawn practices. Islamic Fajr prayer, Hindu Brahma Muhurta, Christian Lauds, Buddhist morning meditation, they all happen in this same window. Not because some deity arbitrarily chose that time, but because human consciousness during these hours has access to something it doesn't have access to at noon or midnight. Your brain wave patterns during this pre-dawn state oscillate between theta and alpha. You're not fully asleep anymore, but you're not locked into beta consciousness either. And in that in-between space, something extraordinary becomes possible. The barrier between your subconscious mind, which is directly connected to the quantum field, and your conscious mind becomes thin, almost transparent, which means the words you speak during this window don't have to fight through layers of mental resistance and contradictory beliefs. They drop directly into the field that's actively organizing your reality. Now, here's where most spiritual teaching gets it backwards. They tell you to speak what you want, to affirm what you desire, to declare what you're trying to manifest. And every single one of those approaches encodes the frequency of lack into your words. Because if you were trying to manifest something, you are operating from the assumption that you don't have it. And that assumption, that energetic signature of absence, is what the field receives and reflects back to you. The sacred code that actually works, it doesn't speak toward the future. It speaks from a reality where the miracle has already occurred. This is what quantum physics has been trying to tell us for 100 years. The observer doesn't just see reality, the observer collapses probability into reality through the act of observation. But here's the part that changes everything. The kind of observation that collapses quantum possibility isn't passive. It's not just looking at something and hoping it appears. It's recognition. It's the full body, full consciousness acknowledgement that what you're seeking already exists in the infinite probability space, and you're simply calling it into your timeline. That recognition has to happen in 3 distinct phases. This isn't arbitrary. This 3-part structure appears in every sacred formula that's ever produced consistent results. The Kabbalists knew it as the threefold name. Sanskrit mantras follow triadic patterns. Even the structure of creation in Genesis, let there be light, is actually 3 Hebrew words that create a standing wave pattern. Because coherence in the quantum field requires a specific kind of repetition, not mindless repetition, structured, progressive acknowledgement. The first part of the code is recognition. You're going to speak out loud, this is critical, a statement of what already exists, not what you hope will exist, not what you're working toward, what is already real in the quantum probability field that you're now choosing to observe. This sounds simple until you actually try to do it, because your rational mind is going to scream that you're lying, that you're denying reality, and you have to speak it anyway, with the same certainty you'd use to describe the chair you're sitting in. If the miracle you're calling in is physical healing, you don't say, "I am healing." You say, "My body is whole. Every cell knows its perfect blueprint. This is what's real." If it's financial, you don't say, "Money is coming to me." You say, "Yeah, an abundance flows through my life. Resources find me. This is what's real." Do you feel the difference? One is hoping, one is recognizing, and the field only responds to recognition. The second part is alignment, because recognition without alignment is just words vibrating in air. Alignment means you're tuning your entire nervous system to match the frequency of the reality you just recognized. And here's what that actually means in practical terms. After you speak the recognition statement, you're going to pause, just like this, and you're going to place your hand on your heart. You're going to take 3 deep breaths, and with each breath, you're going to feel what it would feel like if that recognized reality was your lived experience right now. Not imagine, feel. There's a difference. Imagination is in your head, feeling is in your body, and your body is the antenna that broadcasts your frequency into the field. So if you just recognized that your body is whole, you feel the relief of that, the freedom, the gratitude. If you recognized abundance, you feel the relaxation that comes with security, the openness that comes with having enough. You let that feeling move through your chest, your belly, your limbs. You're not performing this. You're allowing your nervous system to remember what this frequency feels like, because it's felt it before, in moments when you weren't blocked by fear or doubt. This alignment phase should take about 60 to 90 seconds. You're breathing, you're feeling, you're letting your heart rate variability synchronize with the frequency of the recognized reality. Scientists can measure this, by the way. They can watch heart coherence patterns shift in real time. When someone moves from stress frequency to appreciation frequency, you're doing that deliberately. You're tuning your broadcast signal. And then comes the third part, the invitation. This is where most people either skip ahead in impatience or they backslide into doubt. The invitation is the statement that opens the collapse pathway. It's the conscious choice to allow the miracle to manifest in whatever form serves your highest evolution. You're going to say something like this: "I welcome this reality through every pathway that serves my growth. I allow the field to deliver this in perfect timing. I release my grip on how this arrives. This is already done." That last phrase is crucial. This is already done. Not "this will be done" or "I hope this gets done." Already done, because in the quantum field, all timelines exist now. The version of reality where your miracle has manifested isn't in your future. It's in your present, on a probability thread you haven't collapsed into yet. And that collapse happens through sustained observation from the frequency of already having it. So let's put the 3 parts together. Recognition, what already exists. Alignment, tuning your body to that frequency. Invitation, opening the pathway for it to materialize in your timeline, spoken out loud, in the pre-dawn window when your consciousness is bridged between the subconscious field and waking awareness. This is the code. And it's sacred not because some external authority blessed it, but because it works with the actual mechanics of how consciousness shapes reality. Now, you're going to make mistakes with this. Everyone does. So let me tell you the 7 errors that will block your miracles even if you're doing everything else right. First mistake: speaking the code while checking your phone or thinking about your day. Your attention has to be undivided. The field reads your attention as your true intention. If you're split, your signal is split. Second mistake: speaking too fast. This isn't a race. Each phrase needs space to resonate in your body before the next phrase is spoken. Rushing collapses the coherence. Third mistake: using vague language. I am blessed means nothing to the field. My relationships are filled with authentic love and mutual respect. That creates a specific frequency signature. Precision matters. Fourth mistake: speaking different codes for different miracles all in one session. You're trying to tune to multiple frequencies simultaneously. Pick one miracle per dawn session. Stay with it for at least 40 days. Fifth mistake: getting up and immediately speaking the code before you've grounded into your body. You need about 10 minutes of quiet sitting first. Let your system stabilize between sleep and wake. Then speak. Sixth mistake: holding tension in your body while speaking. Tension is fear. Fear is the opposite frequency of miracles. If you notice your shoulders tight, your jaw clenched, stop, breathe, soften, then begin again. Seventh mistake: watching for results. This one destroys more miracles than anything else. The moment you start obsessively checking, is it here yet? Is it here yet? You've shifted back into lack frequency. You've gone from recognition to seeking, and seeking pushes the miracle away. You speak the code, you feel the alignment, you release it, and then you go live your life as if it's already handled, because it is. Here's what you need to do in the 30 minutes before you speak the code. This preparation phase determines whether you're creating from coherence or chaos. First, no screens, none. Your phone stays off. Your consciousness needs to stay in that theta alpha bridge state, and blue light from screens immediately shifts you into beta. Second, hydrate. Drink at least 8 ounces of water. Your cells have been in repair mode all night, and they need water to complete the process and become coherent broadcasters. Third, move gently. Not a workout, just soft stretching or slow walking. You're bringing your body online without shocking it into stress response. And then sit. Just sit in the darkness or the pre-dawn dimness. Let your eyes stay soft. Let your breathing settle into a natural rhythm. You're not meditating necessarily. You're just being present with yourself in this quiet hour when most of the world is still asleep. You're letting your nervous system remember that you're safe, that you're held, that you exist in a field of infinite possibility that's already organizing itself in response to your consciousness. When you feel settled, when you feel ready, you speak the code. Part 1. Recognition out loud with certainty. Pause. Part 2. Alignment, hand on heart. 3 breaths. Feel the reality. Pause. Part 3. Invitation. Release. This is already done. And then you sit with it for just a moment. You let it land. You don't jump up and rush into your morning. You give the field 30 seconds to receive your broadcast and begin reorganizing. Now here's what happens next, and this is where you have to stay awake. Because miracles don't usually arrive the way you expect them to. They don't show up wrapped in a bow with a label that says miracle delivered. They show up as synchronicities, as sudden intuitions, as improbable opportunities, as chance meetings, as information that finds you at exactly the right moment, as doors opening that were locked yesterday. Your job is to recognize them, to see them. Because every time you recognize a synchronicity and acknowledge it as evidence that your miracle is forming, you're strengthening the coherence pattern. You're telling the field, yes, I see this, keep going. And the field responds by sending more. If you ignore the synchronicities because they don't look like the final manifestation yet, you're breaking the feedback loop. You're telling the field, this doesn't count. I'm still waiting. And the field will match that frequency and make you wait. So you watch for the small things, the unexpected email, the conversation that contains exactly the information you needed, the opportunity that shows up through a route you never would have planned. These aren't accidents. These are the miracle assembling itself piece by piece in your timeline, and your recognition of them is what pulls the next piece into form. This is a 40-day process, not because 40 is a magic number, though it shows up in sacred texts for a reason, but because 40 days is approximately how long it takes for your nervous system to establish a new baseline frequency. For the first week, you're going to doubt this. Your rational mind is going to insist this is silly. You're going to feel foolish talking to yourself in the dark before sunrise. Do it anyway. By the second week, something starts to shift. You'll notice you feel different in the mornings, more grounded, more certain. Little things start moving in your life. Not the full miracle yet, but signs. Week 3, this is where most people either deepen or quit. Because week 3 is when your old identity starts to die. The version of you that didn't have this miracle, that identity is dissolving. And that can feel uncomfortable, like you're losing yourself. You're not. You're shedding a skin that never fit in the first place. By week 4, you're not even questioning it anymore. The pre-dawn code has become part of who you are. And by day 40, you're living from a different frequency entirely. And the miracle, it's either already here, or it's so close you can feel it breathing in the room with you. Here's what you need to understand. You're not doing this alone. Every person who has ever spoken truth before sunrise, every mystic who has ever recognized reality beyond the physical, they're part of the same field you're accessing. You're joining a lineage of consciousness that spans thousands of years and every continent on Earth. The code works because it always has, because it's based on the fundamental structure of how reality forms itself in response to awareness. You were drawn to this information right now because somewhere in your being you already know this is true. You already know that your words shape worlds. You already know that timing matters. You already know that miracles are not violations of natural law. They're alignments with deeper laws that most people never access. So tomorrow morning, before the sun rises, you're going to sit in the quiet. You're going to speak what's already real. You're going to feel it in your body. You're going to invite it into your timeline. And you're going to do this again the next morning and the next for 40 days. And somewhere during those 40 days, the miracle you've been waiting for is going to stop being something you're waiting for. It's going to become something you're living, not because you forced it, not because you manifested it through sheer will, but because you tuned yourself to the frequency where it already exists, and you held that frequency long enough for your timeline to shift. The sun is coming. But before it does, you have access to something most people never use, a window, a code, a pathway between what is and what could be. The question isn't whether this works. The question is whether you're willing to show up before dawn and speak the reality you know is already yours. This is already done.